Hi, I know I didn't do one yesterday. It's because it's sad, and I got distracted with knitting this scarf that goes on forever. Um, so one advantage to the distance learning thing is that I don't have to hear, um, so who dies? I heard somebody dies, or it's really easy to tell because there's one daughter who doesn't have chapters anymore after a while. Um, and here we are at last at the end of section 4, which is the part where Ruth May is killed, and it's not because of malaria, it's because of a snake. Um, we start with a Rachel chapter. This is kind of the last bit of humor, kind of squeezed out of this section here, kind of at Rachel's expense. Whoa! I'll go over here. Where she sort of expects to be, um, expects to kind of have a big deal made out of her because she's decided to become a vegetarian, and that she is going to get Axelroot to fly her away. And when everyone comes home, nobody really cares because of what they've just been through, um, fighting over the antelope and over who's the one who killed the antelope when it was Leah and not the chief's son, Gabenye. And they've all just kind of gotten, you know, a little traumatized from the experience. So nobody has any energy to give to Rachel, who wants to be made a fuss over. It's kind of at Rachel's expense. Nelson is convinced that he's going to be that he's going to be killed. That there's this curse. They don't believe, but Nelson is upset, and they shut him out of the house. And Leah goes out with him. Then Rachel reports that Leah has the idea of doing what's in the Bell and the Serpent story that Daniel does, which is lay ashes on the ground in the chicken house to see if anyone was there. So then there's Ada's chapter, um, and she describes kind of doing her own weird version of trying to cast a protection spell or prayer by singing her backwards hymns. And then they all do go to the chicken house in the morning, and right here it's page 97 of the PDF and page 361 in the text. As Nelson knew it would be, it was there inside the chicken house. He stopped us in the doorway, and we froze behind his outstretched arm until we saw it too in the far corner, in the nest box, curled tightly around our two precious hens and all their eggs, two poor ruffle-feathered mothers without a breath between them, bound to their stillborn future. Nest, eggs, and hens were all one package, wrapped in a vivid, slender twine of brilliant green. It was so pretty, so elaborately basket woven among hen and egg, we did not at first understand what we saw. So it's the green mamba, the bright green mamba with the blue mouth. Um, and then it just jumped away, flew at the pole, striking twice, then flung itself from the nest box and shot past us out the door into the bright morning. This green mamba snake, and they had no idea what was going. And they looked at the floor and they saw footprints with a man with 6 toes on his left foot. So you're supposed to know who that is. You're supposed to know who put the snake in the chicken house, because there is one character who has 6 toes on his left foot. Then we get to Leah's chapter, and it all happens so fast, they don't realize that Ruth May was bitten by the green mamba. But Nelson does. Nelson's the first one to realize. And of course, Ruth May is really tiny and really malnourished and having been very ill. So the venom does its work on Ruth May, which is absolutely awful. And Ada has her response, and Rachel has her response. Rachel kind of has one of her very, very dark, serious moments here. There's a strange moment in time after something horrible happens when you know it's not true, but you haven't told anyone yet. Of all things, that is what I remember most. It was so quiet, and I thought, now we have to go in and tell Mother that Ruth May is, oh sweet Jesus, Ruth May is gone. And it's just awful. This just gets me every single time. But what gets me the most is this last chapter, Leah's chapter. She behaved as if somebody else had already told her before we got there. And of course, Leah has come really, really far, really like 180 degrees. My father was a simple, ugly man, is where she is now with Nathan. And this part, it is page 99 of the PDF and 369 of the text about Mother. Mother bathed Ruth May with a washcloth as if she were a baby. I stood with my back to the wall, remembering too much of another time, as I watched her rub carefully under the chin and in the folds at the backs of the elbows and knees. In our house in Bethlehem, I used to stand outside the bathroom door where I could see the two of them in the mirror, Mother singing soft questions and kissing her answers into the tiny outstretched palms. Ada and I were 9 then, too old to be jealous of a baby, but I still had to wonder if she had ever loved me that much. Just the description of Mother bathing Ruth May and taking care. And she cut our mosquito netting into long sheets and stitched the layers together. She made a shroud, carried her outside, and put Ruth May's body on the table, wrapped in the shroud, and put all the furniture outside. And of course, right at this moment is where the rain starts after the dry season, after the drought. Nathan, as helpful as always, starts to baptize all the children in the rainwater. The children just know that Ruth May is dead and that she's the one who taught them games, like Mother May I. So they start saying, Mudda May I. It's really sad. That's one of the cats. Hi, Zozo. If she were the kind of cat to jump up on my lap, I would show her to you, but she's not. She is the kind of cat who'll complain, though. I don't know. It's really sad. If you're mad at me for making you read such a sad book, I'll take that. I'll own that. Um, the other coincidence is that Ruth May's death does not only happen at the same time that the rain comes, but it also, they will find out later, it's the same day that Patrice Lumumba is assassinated. So it's really sad. I'm really sorry. Let me know what you think. Take care, everybody.